sun up yet? Do we party like the sun don't set? We gon' take you all around the world. The same song, everywhere. Same song, it's the same song. We gonna take you all around the world. Same song, same song, same song.
Hi girls, how y'all doing? I don't know if I got a. Oh, I should have got a link. I was gonna drop a link. See if anybody wanted to come up and express their opinions about this news today. But I think I'm on the wrong YouTube page to do so. Yeah, I was just wondering. But how y'all doing today? Hope y'all doing okay. Kay and Serena. What's been going on, girls? Natalie. Hi. I see Natalie smile in her profile. And I always smile with you. And I'm not a big smiler, right? But Natalie has a smile on her profile. I'll be like, look at Natalie smile. And then there you go. When I look at you, Natalie, like it makes me smile. And I was like, I am not a big smiler, girl. I be practicing it though. It's like I'm always a mean mugger, like, oh, because I be waiting on somebody to say something so goofy so I can respond back goofy. So you know what it is. I think I could tell in your profile picture. Like you a smiler. You out there like, hi. I'm out there like, what you want? What do you want? That's how I come off, I think, to people. I need to work on that, right? I need to work on that. Because I know I be having some people feeling intimidated, like, oh, I don't think I want to come up to her. Let's ask K Baby. K Baby met me. K Baby, how hey Josetta, how did you think my personality was, K Baby, when you first met me? And be honest. Did you think that I was old like bitch? Let's ask K Baby Natalie. She would know. She met me. I mean, I don't think she thinks that, but oh, your comment just popped up. But it turns out I think that that is an acceptable response because I am such a cool person. I am such a cool person. You just got to really get to know me, and you be like, I'm finna go hang out with Pap, man. Bump, y'all. I really am. So I'm not a little. When I tell you I'm cool peeps, girl, please have us getting kicked out of a club, cool peeps. It's like I got two different type of shoes I'm in. Then when I'm ready to be, conservative or I go there, honey. I'd be like, okay, then I'm gonna put on my stuck up shoes. Be like, shit, yeah, yeah. I'm not on camera today, y'all, because let me tell y'all why. I am so dressed down today. I just finished a lot of paperwork right now, so I'm like, oh, I'm a little bored, but I do want to talk to the chat before I head upstairs. I've been down here like literally all morning. I got up, went and had little breakfast. I came down here like 6:30, and the kids woke up about 9. Then they come bombarded, so now I'll go upstairs and fix them some cereal and stuff, which they mothers should have been here at 9. We're gonna talk about that too, right? Because I almost got a little upset because when I say what I mean what I say. And I just don't like to be taken advantage of, even though, these are my grandkids. But so I got that right. I'm gonna tell y'all about that story before we jump into this other big ass story that's going on out here about this book. And I just kind of wanted to see how some of you guys felt about it, which I know, we're over here, as Team Kales and stuff, but I had really started going in on my community posts with questions and hoping to see people would join in. But you just don't see that over here. So sometimes you ask yourself, like, why? Why even waste your time? But for the most part, I do it for me because they're in my head, right? These are my thoughts. And we got this Reshonda Landfair book dropping out here right at the same time that they're trying to push this petition for R. Kelly to receive some more help, right, for his victory of trying to get home. So, okay, baby, I just could not believe it, right? But let me finish because I got them cereal. Then I came back downstairs. Then they came back downstairs. So now I'm like, where's y'all mother at? Okay. So Mr. Noel, he started playing with the video game over there. Then Keandre, he felt like working out this morning. So I threw him on the treadmill. That kind of kept him a little quiet. But now I'm like, it's 11 o'clock. Where's y'all mom at? Now I'm down here and I'm trying to work on the paper. And of course, y'all know babies. Each one wants something different at a different time. You can't never want something at the same damn time. So I could do it all together, right? Whether if someone wants a toy or someone got to use the bathroom or could you turn the TV? Just ask me all at the same time. Okay. Don't wait till I sit down and come back and then here come another. I be thinking they had this stuff planned out. So I don't, I cannot never recall a time with my mom, right, where, okay, she would watch the kids, but when she tell you that she got something to do and you need to be back here and you don't show up, it's a problem. Well, I have that in me. Are y'all like that? Like if I am prompt. I am always on time for, meetings and things that I know that someone has set or we mutually set these meetings and stuff together because, I don't know what they got to do or I, oh my God. So I felt myself kind of getting, a little annoyed with it or whatever. But then they come in the house, the girls, right? And they kind of soothe things over because, of course, they want to crack jokes and, oh, you can lay in the bed and, oh, you don't have them that much, which is no excuse. But they made me laugh and get over it. And I really enjoyed those boys, y'all. At the Monster Jam, which I had never attended one, even though they've been here for, year after year after year. So I decided I'm going to do this. And man, was I all in, y'all. I had my phone out. I was voting. Me and Noel and Noel voted on some cards that I was like, really, Noel? I don't think that one should get like a 8 or 9. So he would be like, well, I do, Grandma. I was like, I'm giving that card like a 3. He would be like- so we enjoyed that. The weather held. It was not bad at all. All three of them was like really tuned in to to the dirt mound and things and a female driver. She won the little competition. I mean, this woman did some actual backwards flips in her truck. Yeah, I was like, what the hell? So that was exciting to me. I was in a like a whole new, new kid on that. I really was. So then they showed the advertisement with the Disney on Ice. Now I'm thinking, okay, if we do Disney on Ice, that's 2 more grandbabies that I gotta do. I'm like, oh Lord, them tickets gonna be high as hell. So I don't know about that just yet. Maybe I'll surprise them and maybe I won't. We'll see. Now, moving on, because I did shout out to my moderator. She sent me the article and she was like, Pap, You gotta read this. Oh shit. Wait a minute, because it says that my camera is connected to my. Okay, let me see, because it just might pop me on camera, y'all, if I open up my camera. Let me see. Because I know I turned my camera off and it was like, well, do you want to switch to. Yeah, it did. Okay, so if I switch it around, let me see if how the. Let me see. No, it didn't open it up. Wait a minute. How does this work? There I am. There I am. Look, I'm actually. This is so cool. I swear they always got something, y'all. Now, on the YouTube, it asks me if I wanted to switch. See, now I'm confused because I got the camera up here and then my phone here, right? So it asks if you want to use your camera from your phone. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do that, right? Because I didn't want to be on camera today. But so now I'm just seeing how it operates. I'm going back off of camera because it's confusing me. But this is some crazy shit. Like I can literally walk away from here and take my phone now, and you guys can still see me. Unfreaking believable. Okay, but I'm going to go back off if y'all don't mind because, and you know what? I do. I feel like the sinus infection might be coming back because I've been congested all day in my, up in here. So cross my fingers. Hope I do not get that crap back. So, but let me go. Okay, so let's do that. I'll come back on camera soon, but I wanted to use my phone, right? Well, it's a long story. Did y'all read it, or have y'all been around listening to other people reading what to me could actually be the book? I'm like, even though I know that there might be more details in it and everything, but I was looking up, and I think I put it up right. Did K baby? I was not aware that, or I didn't know, but the more you get to clicking and researching and digging and seeing all of this stuff, right? I didn't even know that R. Kelly actually had some involvement with that other group too called Changing, what is it? Changing Faces. And then you got hold on, let me see. And I was like, oh my God, they kind of look alike, right? But hold on, let me get it. Let me see. Oh boy, hold on, where is it? I know I put it in here without me knocking. I didn't want to knock stuff over. Okay. And I was like, oh, wow. He actually was kind of involved with this group too that was being produced and put out there, also overseas from a guy named Mark Pritt or something like that. But this group here had some involvement also with Jay Z, right? And I was like, you know what? Okay, baby, this R. Kelly stuff is just, it's entirely too much, too long when you get into all of the baby. I'm like, wait a minute, this stuff will give you a headache, honey, an unexpected one when you get to looking and reading and reading. I was like, wait, what? Let me see if I can find it right quick. But when I looked at this group here, I'm like, wow, she even kind of favors Reshonda Landfair. But then when I look to see, okay, well, Reshonda Landfair is in a whole nother different group, right? But both groups performed and was over in overseas. The damn paper. Okay, this group right here, right? So, hi, Patricia. Patricia keeps a smile too in her profiles. How do y'all do it? How do y'all do it? I can't keep a smile. There's Harlem. There's Harlem. Hey, Harlem. So you had changing faces, right? and then you had For the Cause. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, For the Cause actually was all family members, some brothers. Shauna Edwards, Beanie Edwards, Reshonda Edwards Landfair. I wonder why she was the only one to come out of the group with just using Landfair. And then Jason Edwards. I was like, oh, okay. Reshonda was born in 84. Okay. They don't know whether if, they can't get her age right, even though it doesn't matter. You got a lot of articles saying between 12 and 14. I think, according to what I found, like, okay, well, she started coming around R. Kelly at the age, to me, was 14. Then you had the allegations about all these videos coming out and blah, 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 that landed from 98 till the year of 2000 with the most recent one. So that's kind of where I get like really a headache at. I'm like, what the hell, But I really did. I was like, okay, well, who is this girl with that in changes faces featuring Jay Z all of my days, right? So I went pulling that up, right? And I look on them like, oh my God, that's also published by R. Kelly. And then you had For the Cause, and it was like right around the same year of these songs, 1997. I was like, so I went to look at the video. And I was like, oh, it was actually a cool video, though. I enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this video is nice. But now, Rashonda Landfair has chosen to come out. I'm reading a lot of reviews. I should have went on my other screen, but to share something because the reviews off of this other like group or website or something that I was on, I was like, oh my God, it was kind of a 50-50 thing. It's like good for her. It's time. Then, of course, you get those remarks. Well, after so many years and her, I guess, obviously going, back or staying around him. And it says up until the last, right now will probably be about 7, 8, 10, I don't know, years ago, because I don't know. I didn't see the date of that being posted. But, a lot of people question about why now. Now, I did hear a smidget of, Drunken Larry. Drunken Larry is back and forth and up and down. It's 1 minute he's this way, 1 minute he's that way. About his feelings, but what I don't. Out of all of the things going on, I heard him say that, oh my God, he was about to cry and he hate that this happened, and I guess you got to have some type of I don't know, spiritual connection or whatever, because I can read her story or I didn't heard everything that's going on and I get it, but it's nothing about it that makes me want to cry. It was like this is something of their personal lives and this is what went on over here. So you just don't mentally, jump into the story. You like that to I don't know, it was weird, but I get it. It's emotion that you want to put on the people so that the people can feel some type of way about it. Is she entitled to tell her story? I would say yes. Who is the people to argue, about that? I just think that healing to me is God first and not the people. I don't think that things should be done just to satisfy the people and also have monetary gain behind it. I don't take it sincerely. I just don't. You know, but of course, we're talking about a big celebrity, right? And a lot of people that were involved in his life. I get that. However, from what I've been reading and watching all through the YouTube, I'm gonna have to hold the position that okay, this happened, and I think that just move on. But if a book is what people need to make them rich, then it is what it is. What is it?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
leaving.
you warming up your car?
Car right now.
Oh, you say you're leaving? Just text me when you get there. You went to Menards that fast?
What you mean? I've been going this whole time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I would have had you bring me something back.
They ain't got no noodles.
They didn't. Just gonna stop at Walmart.
Mm-hmm. I got no noodles. I
Oh,
paid for me and Taki both of our paid for yesterday.
you didn't have it though. And I saw that, but not my business, but you didn't have it. So yeah, I'll cash
No,
app
it's
you.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna go to the dining hall and give me some food.
Yeah, I'll send you something and when I get off here before you make it up there, then you can stop at Walmart. All right. Yeah.
See you later.
Be safe.
Okay.
Give me some hugs. Love you.
Oh, I gotta get the microphone.
Yeah. Be careful.
Okay.
You say he on my nerves too. You yeah. Well, you know how he operates. Okay, baby. That's what he do. He's like the YouTube influencer, to put everybody in their feelings. But when you step into the shoes of reality, you know that it ain't much that he can do about nothing anyway. But just do his talking like he normally do. I'd be over here like, boy, just stop. Just like how R. Kelly said, there's a thousand more. There's a thousand more you can go and try to, pull up and reach out and go find. Hey, beauty. So, but um, yeah, I mean, hey, if y'all want to read it and kind of, respond to it or so, then I'm okay with that. But it was pretty long. I gotta find it though. Let me see where it was. It's how much I really cared about it. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all want to read it? Y'all want to hear it? Because to me, with me, it didn't make me. No, never mind. Beauty read you, girl. So what did you think, Beauty? What did you think? Because I sent you back a response to a comment that you respond to on a TikTok page. Madeline didn't read it. So I'm I'm just, torn that it's in the midst of, this petition that's going on that is doing really good. I believe it didn't hit over 600,000, you guys. You say read some of it? Okay, well, let's find it. Let me find it. Hmm. Let me go to my book. Hold on. I don't want to bore y'all because I'm telling y'all start leaving, then I'm going to leave. I ain't finna keep sitting in here talking to myself all the time. Sometimes I be okay with it, but then there's other times I be like, let me go. These people be busy, busy. All right, but I got it pulled up. Yeah, it's whenever he's in the spotlight. It's like here he comes. They really do not want him to have any help. My other reason why I think that this book is not necessary. Didn't she get paid? Didn't she get some things allegedly from the government, to have her to come and testify? So it's like she's already been awarded, for whatever damages, right? Or for her to come out again and to do more testifying, right? And then the argument that I'm hearing about, the 2008, and then I'm confused with that, about how is it that I side with R. Kelly on this, when he started saying that, like this is double jeopardy. And whether if he knew or not that Reshonda can be detrimental to him. He knew it. So with him saying that, it's like, okay, my due process rights are now being violated. I understood when he said that because there is no way to me, even though they found a loophole, right? And a lot of it is probably coercion or buying her off or whatever because they really, really wanted to nab him, right? But I just feel like that's you got your award, so is it necessary to do a book, so that, like she say, she can finally find herself and she's Reshonda, Shorty, Landfair or whatever, right? I think that, in my opinion, a person or people like that has stumbled on a way to enjoy double greed, and God don't like that. So at some point, I'm not wishing bad, but I like to use what a lot of Christians would say out here. You know, God sit high, you sit low, so He see everything. So you have to watch which way that you go, meaning, how you do in life. And right now, I just think that this is double dipping on monetization of greed. Like, forget it. I might as well just go for the gusto. Now I read a few comments and it's like, oh my God, what, she must be broke or she must be this and she's coming back out to do this. So you say Drea was in the picture in '94 up until Reshona speaks on Drea participation. I heard that, girl. I feel you on that. I feel you on that one, but will it be in the tell-all book? Will she talk about that? And you know what else? It's just crazy to me because of, they kept saying, well, they have these new tapes and they have these new tapes. And then you had the first juror from the previous trial saying that, they couldn't identify whether if that was her or not. And they could not determine whether if that's was the correct age of the girl on the tape, right? Not only that, then you have the people sitting out here, right, in the community. And y'all know who they are. And they screaming, because I don't know. I don't know. Well, that's not R. Kelly on the tape. Well, that's not R. Kelly on the tape. Okay. So if they're saying that that's not him and they're talking about it's a Damon pricing, but then you got the government saying that no, or with Michael Avenatti, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goddamn tapes, and then you got Kim Fox who dropped some of the this stuff because she got fed up with it, like she knew something wasn't right. So she got her butt up out of it. But these people are saying these about this is not him on the tape. Okay, then if you're holding this information and you're standing on it and you know for sure that it's 100%, then why isn't this information getting into what was his attorney's hand to so that that evidence can be brought in? Or are they just out here just to be heard and be talking? So when they on those talking points, certain people out here, y'all know who they are. I really, really, really ignore them. I might even turn from their channel because there's no way in the hell that you could be saying free R. Kelly and then you're out here saying that that's not, so and so on these tapes, but as if your information is holding this truth, but the truth didn't get down there to help free him. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Yeah, it's been, and they know it's been cut and edited and dissected. But who do we blame that on? I mean, not blame, but who do we bring that attention to? Is it the judge? Who's supposed to get that attention? Isn't a judge, supposed, based on the discovery or questions asked, was there any attorney on R. Kelly's side that said, hey, well, wait a minute, those tapes have been edited, you can't use those, or what happened to those arguments? Why, and then the judge goes and have the tape analysis or come up there and from both sides or whatever and let them argue out about whether if this tape was edited, cut, and as I thought, this is my assumption, right, that after the first trial you were only able to hold on to whatever you had for so many years, and then that it's to be burned. And I remember the YouTube streets out here arguing about that, like, who in the hell holds on to tapes like this for this many years like this? Or, as they say with Jim Derogatis, all of a sudden a tape just appeared to him, in the mailbox, right, by an undisclosable person. So not only that, I can see all these people that was sitting out here saying that they had a copy of the tape, they had a copy of the tape, they had a copy of the tape. So ain't no telling where the tape, actually could have come from if there was a tape, right, with him on it, um, to be given to Jim Dare Gods. Like that could have been anybody in the world. However, some of the evidence of the way the story was told was leading back to, okay, well, Sparkle must have did it, right? Because Sparkle didn't one come out start talking about, oh, well, that's my niece on the tape. It was crazy. It's just crazy, right? Wow. But let's Beauty said let's read a little bit of it. The Jane Doe, Reshonda Landfair, and the infamous R. Kelly urine tape finally speaks out and has a memoir coming out next week. Okay, she is a fully grown woman now, you guys. Yeah, you shouldn't know Rashonda Landfair's. I don't know why this one says you shouldn't know. I think it means that you should know, but it says you shouldn't know Rashonda Landfair's name. It may have rung a bell in the 90s, and if you were a fan of Chicago hip hop group For the Cause, where Landfair was a spunky, pie-sized rapper of the cousin quartet. Some of these words are spelt wrong, so I'm going to say them wrong. They found modest fame overseas by performing hip hop covers of songs like Stand By Me and Ain't No Sunshine. Now, no shade, but I heard them sing the Ain't No Sunshine and it didn't sound good, okay? But no shade. It is what it is. They were kids. They were young back then. I get it, but I was like, that's one of my songs. Like y'all chopping that song up. Music ran in her family's blood. Her aunt Sparkle was a rising R&B star who had connections to major industry players. Landfair's father was a professional guitarist, and her mother had been part of a local gospel group with her siblings. As a sweet boy's twin grew older, Landfair could have continued pursuing music or forged ahead with her dreams of becoming a preschool teacher. Instead, she became known for something entirely devastating. For the past 25 years, Landfair has lived with the painful aftermath of her name lingering in the public domain without her consent, going so far to shorten her name to Charm. When meeting new acquaintances as a teenager, she had her privacy ripped away when she was thrust into the national spotlight, not for her musical talents, but for the perversions of the man deemed a musical genius. Landfair became known as a 14-year-old girl in a sickening R. Kelly videotape, a documented encounter of child pornography filmed by the man she called her godfather. Now in her early 40s, Landfair still resembles the baby-faced girl who radiated joy as she performed on international stages, standing around 5 foot nothing, even in platform Uggs. Her childhood name, Shorty, still fits. Friendly and composed, Landfair purchased herself on a Bonko covered chair in a bright studio in Chicago's Lower West Side for what will be his first ever interview. Her first ever interview. Pushing past any lingering feelings of self blame, she is determined to take back ownership of her story and her name with the release of her poignant and beautifully written memoir. She wants to take back the ownership of her story. Who had her who had her story? Nobody but Sparkle. So maybe she will be having some pieces in the book about Sparkle. Yes, maybe. Landford doesn't shy away from much in the memoir, although she's clear this is not a tell all or expose. I probably need to apologize because I did call it a tell all book. Across 240 pages, Landfair describes how she became ensnared in Kelly's web and how the singer kept her trapped there for more than a decade. Now, here's my problem with that one because there has been plenty arguments out here about R. Kelly keeping somebody trapped. And R. Kelly also stating that, people were freely to go. There were no lock. You can go, you can come and go. So when they say trapped, I think that, they're just trying to strengthen the vision of like how the savages and things came out here to say like he was um, holding a coat and he didn't even know what a coat was. So there's specific words in here that will, intensify the story and kind of have you in like this shock moment, like, oh my God, like that type of shock, right? It does nothing for me, okay? It doesn't give me any reaction to those type of shock waves about it because everybody has a story. And when you done read so many, you done seen them all on Snap, you done seen them over here, it becomes numb, numb and nullified to you, to me. I'm like, okay, because I guess I just don't let everything tap into my spirits like that. It's like, okay, that's just how I feel about it. But no shade. So it says that there were punishments too, leaving scars and black eyes. Kelly recorded himself sadistically spanking Landfair. I don't even recall. Well, okay. To the point that she would bleed. That kind of sound like some shit that Azarel said and repeated that. Maybe because all of them was repeating pretty much what everybody was saying. I mean, down to Ashanti McGee. Everybody was repeating the same shit. I'm like, what the hell? Kelly recorded himself, okay, spanking Landfair to the point that she would bleed. She reveals she was still a virgin in the infamous tape. And back to the part about them saying, narrating this, that the singer kept her trapped. And then, I still have to ask myself, like I asked all the other people, trapped for how long? You mean to tell me that the parents did not come to look for their child to untrap her and sock R. Kelly in the nose? They just let her stay. So I just don't like when they use words like that to set a tone to the narration, to paint to the people, to stimulate you, to trigger you. I just don't like it. She reveals that she was still a virgin in the infamous tape, her mind soapy from the crystal champagne Kelly continued to feed to her. And I get it. I remember the arguments about, okay, well, she's 14, 15, 16. I get it. And 14, 15, 16, I guess there's a dark space that a lot of them could fall into with thinking that, a person has that type of mind control over you. But there's also that part in your mental that's telling you to get the hell out, to grab a vase, to do something. So you're intertwined, you're entangled to, as opposed to, well, what feels good to you and what doesn't. And if at 14, at some point when it's not welcoming, there's something in your mind, it tells you, okay, this now doesn't feel good, or this isn't right. Then it's like automatically there's a part of you that will respond to that, as far as attitude, as far as retaliating, trying to harm the person that you say is harming you, or you run away. You got 14, 13, 12, 11-year olds who doesn't like things that the parents do to them and will run away. Now, how is it that a 13, 14, 15 who does not like what a parent does, or by punishing them, or not giving them money, or taking their phones away, knows somewhere that they want to run away? But when it comes to someone that is being alleged in some sexing situation, right, they don't know how to run away. It's just um it's, obviously, I want to get into the psychology part of it, but I'm not. So, but it's like that. It's like how what the brain just works, I guess, how you choose to make it work, and that's based on things that you want and things that you don't want. It responds to the things that you don't want. It will react to the things that you don't want. So this whole R. Kelly thing is, and all of these young ladies and stuff, especially with Jim Derrick is sitting his butt up there talking about, well, the it's the black girls that has always been getting ignored of this or that. But to say that, you also have to understand that the, the black girls, some of them, if not a lot of them, when they have encountered um, um, being in poverty for so long and not getting their way for so long and having the opportunity to be around a celebrity, it instantly changes their mindset. They can have it all now, and they would be willing to do whatever it is to get it all. It happens. So I think that as far as the young black female culture, when Jim Derogatis was making those statements, like, dude, you don't get it. You don't understand. You don't know. You know, and I think that instead of Jim Derogatis, maybe it should have been a more professional psychiatrist or a psychologist breaking down, um, what it's like without being biased, like Jim Derogatis, right? Speaking on the young black girl generation, black culture out here. That's just how I felt about him. Anywho, but for years, Landfair had refused to watch the tape. She refused to watch the tape. First of all, I ain't refusing to watch shit. I want to watch it. I want to see where you finna put it at. I want to know what, because the minute you leave, that's your ass. You understand? Why would I, no? Let me go on because I can read this, and Beauty got me started now because I'm all in right now, and there's just questions, But when like the trial R. Kelly just had up there with Judge Donnelly, right? And I put it in my community post. Here it is where they're saying that the government is allowed to do this, and that. But then doing cross examination, the defense attorney for R. Kelly was refrained from asking particular type of questions that will incite more details, probably in the favor of R. Kelly, but they shut it down. He was not allowed to. His attorneys were not allowed to. And this here, where Kanik, I think the most he got out of a few of the people that took the stand, the females, was to say that, you guys are liars. He called out a lot of line play, on a lot of the females. So yes, there is some room to say shout out to Kanik for that, but there is no room for in which the government granted. In which the judge granted the government the right to invoke R. Kelly due process with his attorneys asking particular type of questions, whether if it was going to hurt their feelings or not. They were protecting their feelings more so than honoring R. Kelly his due process rights to get the downright truth, to come out in the court of law and present it in front of this sequestered juror. That's how I felt about this case. So now it's like, oh, this is a hot mess out here. But Landfair had refused to watch the tape, only doing so when she agreed to testify at Kelly's 22 criminal trial. Did she agree to it? Was she pressured into it? Was she coerced to it? Was she offered some things, beneficial things, to continue on with her life to do so? It's lots of varies, like it's a lot to look at, but doesn't matter now. I don't know. She expresses her frustration and anger over how so many people and institutions failed her. But yet then, R. Kelly had been the only one to pay for this. So hopefully, if she's writing her memoir, all of these people that has failed her, hurt her, and caused her all of this pain, just maybe now the government will probably go to a grand juror and get those people indicted too. Because she ain't, sounds like now, here only been hurt allegedly by an R. Kelly. Go round them all up. That's how I feel about it. Even, I mean, if she's going to say that her mom, then okay, then let's go get them all indicted. And I guarantee you that you get all, even though this will be a long trial, indicted, man, it's going to be some truth telling coming out on that stand. Hi, Dip Dip. Just now looking up, seeing you. How you doing, hon? Landfair is incredulous how incredulous how society allow a child victim to be turned into a punchline in comedy skits. Who she's blaming? The government? Who she's blaming? Did the police fail her? Who is this? Who is she speaking about? But there's no axe to grin, no palatable feelings of hatred on the pages. Or maybe she's talking about all of the ridicule or backlashes that she got when she, took the stand in a trial. Maybe she's speaking about that. This memoir is an act of purging, of Landford unburdening herself of the anchor that came with saying her name aloud, unburdening herself of the anchor. I so you the award for the damages done. That didn't do it, y'all. I mean, she's got it right here. That you know, re, yeah, money didn't fix it. Telling it in a memoir will, I guess, allegedly heal her. So Beauty says, and then the father continued play. Yeah, he stayed with the group, continued to play until he ended up with the coronavirus, the COVID, and I guess he passed away. Some say heart attack, but maybe it was the COVID that caused the heart attack. Mm-mm. He couldn't have been. No, he wasn't that bad. She kept going. Okay, she kept going to see. Landfair tells Rolling Stone. Now, just on a guess, and these are just your guessing opinions. How much do y'all think Rolling Stone paid her to drop this story? You think it was in the six figure or the five digit or the five figure? Which one y'all think it was? Because I think it was somewhere along that line. I came to a conclusion one day and I said, if I just lay all of this out, I no longer have to explain myself. I no longer have to fear the whispers about me at the table. Now, you know that there is parents out there, and I am one of them, that preaches day in and day out to my kids. If you live your life worrying about what somebody has said to you, you are failing. If you live your life worrying about somebody is whispering something about you so that they can shame you or whatever, you're failing anyway. And you also, like my mom told us, you left God. Because as long as you walking with him, ain't nowhere in the world your head should have fallen down that low to be worried about who was saying what. But see, these stimulating like words to get to the people so that you can feel, some type of way that she's feeling in her shoes. Me, on the other hand, hey, I have empathy. Okay, fine, it happened. But I do know what it takes to keep it moving in life. And especially, when you had a shot to allegedly do the prosecution against R. Kelly and, not taking any money to go overseas or whatever, you had that shot. You missed that shot. And that's, to me, the fault is on you. You can't. I know people say, well, you can't say when a person is ready. Oh, you ready if it hurts. Because what you're looking at right now is a proven fact that the longer you wait, the changes that has no change has been made. She's still hurting because she had to write a memoir about it. I'm just saying. So what difference did it make? What difference does it make whether if you do it tomorrow or you wait 23 years to do it? What you did? What you doing? She still got the same hurt. I no longer have to fear about the whispers at me at the table. Oh, you know who that is. Once I realized that I didn't have peace or privacy by hiding, I had to take ownership. I think that that would be the media. I think that she's talking about the government right there because those were the only people, in my opinion, that was searching her down and putting applying pressure on her to try to get her to come out here to do what she do, whether it's write a book or take the stand against R. Kelly. So who is she actually talking about? Because she says by hiding, they broke her privacy. They broke her peace. Those people did. I don't know if maybe her brothers or something was pressuring her about it. Or her mom. But Kelly crimes have been well documented through several trials, investigative reports, and the pivotal Surviving R. Kelly docuseries. Together, they shed light on how the 59-year-old methodically leveraged his star power to pursue underage girls for sex over decades, often videotaping the encounters. As Kelly quietly paid off victims with six-figure settlements and escaped accountability, his means of control escalated. He began cultivating a harem-like dynamic where teens and grown women were instructed to call him daddy and had to seek his permission to eat and use the bathroom. In 2021 and 22, Kelly was convicted in two separate federal trials in New York and Illinois, respectively on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, producing child sexual abuse imagery, and coercing minors into men's acts. He is currently serving concurrently 20-year and 30-year sentence at a medium security facility on the outskirts of Durham, North Carolina. At the center of it all was Landfair. It was the illegal video of her 14-year-old that found its way to Jim Derogatis. And I hate hearing about it. I really hate hearing about it. I hate hearing about how these people that has set out here in this YouTube community over here saying that it wasn't him, it wasn't him, it wasn't him. But yet then R. Kelly done been through how many different attorneys, and are we saying that he did not have the money to have investigator or a professional scientist or videotape analysis take the stand? Was he not allowed to go in there to combat that? No, what happened? I'm sorry, what happened? I need to know. How is it that it is known for a fact for the public to know that's not him on the tape, but his attorneys did not argue that or presented it, didn't have a tape? Where was they argument about that? How does it explain? Yeah, she's putting money on his commissary. Now, I ain't gonna say that right now. I'll say that for last. She hasn't been in touch with him in a while. When she learned that he was having a party, she reached out to him. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. But was she reaching out to him to, continue to help have him say some things or do some things or even meet up to where now she's placed herself in the position of being informant? Or was she probably wired? You know, who knows? The Chicago Sun-Times music critic who published damning reports on the singer that helped launch the first child pornography case against Kelly. Kelly was acquitted in the first trial, and yet she's never publicly told her story until now. Who was stopping her? She could have been dead. It. What's the problem? Oh, I needed time to heal. So the book is going to probably finalize the wound and, put the bandage over it so that now she can probably breathe, you know. Maybe she can breathe after this book. There was no logic in the now. It was just my final chapter of letting this situation go, releasing myself of it, my family, and not having to play in the shadows of Robert and any longer. What do y'all think she mean by playing in the shadows of Robert? What do y'all think that means? Honey, tell me, this weather is beyond brutal, boo. So, but we don't have that much longer to go. Welcome to the chat, sweetheart. So, what do y'all think that means? She doesn't have to play into the shadows anymore. Landfair explains, I just really wanted to capture the fact that I was a human being. I had dreams and aspirations. I was not just a R. Kelly girl. In a statement provided to Rolling Stone, behalf, Rolling Stone, oh, they got the word together. Rolling Stone on behalf of Kelly. The singer's attorney, Bo Brentley, says that Mr. Kelly wishes Miss Landfair all the best in life. No matter whatever and how the situation keep taking turns to it, R. Kelly only speaks positive in existence on all of these people. I have not yet heard him come back to say through an attorney or a friend of anybody to go to hell. Screw them. They like, but I not ever. Like he always have the positive attitude behind situations other than him calling Dana distorted. The distorted is not a, a positive word, but I don't think it's like it's the worst. It's just describing a person like, okay, he's just saying what he want to say is to get a trigger and a snicker out of people out here, and if you guys choose to believe it, then you do it, and if you don't, you don't. That's just kind of how I took that. But he's the only person, other than some of the interviews that he's had, which was very minimum. I've not heard that man say, go to hell. Even the interview, I forget the lady name, and he was sitting on the sofa, right? And he goes, well, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to leave. R. Kelly said, well, this meeting is over. Okay. Mr. Kelly has no negative comments to make about her. He hopes she finds success and peace. So, where does Landfair want to start? At the beginning. An early scene in Landfair's book, it begins with her eavesdropping on a conversation among older family members in her grandparents' home. Oh, so she gonna have some juicy tea probably in there about her family members. Okay. R. Kelly has made us his family, and I am grateful. Okay, see, that was something positive, right? Now, sounds like that there was a whole bunch of distortion and things going on in her immediate family members' home. And with all this being said and done, and R. Kelly probably, knowing about some of these things, to me, seems like he might have came through as the interventioner, right? The mediator, the person that's trying to regroup them and bring some love back into that home. That's kind of what that sounds like to me. She says, and I am grateful. Landfair recalls her mother declaring, that's God. See that? That's God. God sent R. Kelly in here to save us. God know that it was something not right going on in our home. R. Kelly come in here and brought nothing but love and took us in and started calling us his family. Ain't that something? You say you believe that Sparkle set that up. Well, Sparkle was out here trying to tell her stories about how, how what the people her family stopped talking to her, and they was trying to tell her this, and then I think she only had like one brother or something that decided to believe her, and I think it was something like that. It was so long ago, right? If the whispers of Kelly's proclivity for young girls retch the Landfair's at that time, it would have been easy to wave them off, as so many did, as salacious and unfounded gossip. I thought he was safe, Landfair explains. Oh, so he wasn't safe coming to that home, huh, Landfair, because Sparkle and all them brothers and then the daddy playing the band, that home was full of confusion, kind of sound like to me. What y'all think? What y'all think? Sound like something? Ooh, child. You know how they say about dysfunctional families. Sound like that the Landfair family was a little bit dysfunctional over there. And here she is thanking God that R. Kelly came through. Ain't that something? They thought he was safe at the time. Kelly was putting distances between his bump and grind persona by embracing gospel music, releasing the soulful "I Believe I Can Fly" and publicly devoting his life to Christ. In reality, says that he was a wolf in sheep's clothing with a cross around his neck. Kelly entered the Landfair's lives through Reshona Aunt Sparkle after he took the newcomer R&B singer under his wing as his protege. Well, that story about Sparkle and R. Kelly, and they met up there at the hotel in Chicago, and her daddy told R. Kelly to say it again. Or whatever. Oh, and I was like, okay. I mean, a story is a story, but sometimes, it could be too far fetched. Like, oh, okay. Um, it marked the start of Kelly's growing influence over the wider Landfair family. He subtly zeroed in on a young Roshana after meeting at a For the Cause performance, taking an interest in her hobbies while simultaneously integrating himself into her family's life. He courted the family's trust with generosity and opportunities. An impromptu meal at the Cheesecake Factory was the multi-millionaire's treat. Landfair's father, Greg, was offered steady work as a studio musician for Kelly, credited on nearly a dozen Kelly tracks from 1999 to 2010. Excited and awed by Kelly's celebrity, a 12-year-old Landfair began spending more time around Kelly at his recording studio and tagging along to group outings with Sparkle. Now, was she there as a aspiring singer? I mean, to continue on from her for the cause group. Was she there? I mean, and then why didn't Sparkle? I'm not gonna ask questions. But why didn't Sparkle take the boys too? Because they were all in the group. I'm just asking. Why didn't she bring all of them? Now Sparkle took her, and then I remember an interview Sparkle did saying that she walked in the studio and Rashonda was there, and she asked her, "Well, what are you doing here? Who brought you here? Who brought why?" Stuff like. I remember that interview, right? And I'm saying to myself, "Well, according to this, you brought her there. You brought her there." But so she wanted to know who brought her here and left her there, by herself. But I remember that interview. When Sparkle encouraged Landfair to ask Kelly, she encouraged Sparkle did Landfair to ask Kelly to be her godfather. It seemed like a natural progression of the close bond the family was developing with Kelly. After Landfair climbed into Kelly's lap and rubbed his head. Now, I guess Sparkle ignored that and probably thought that it was okay because it sounds like that she was there. She brought her there. She's introducing them, and she let her niece climb up there on a grown man to say, "Hey, you're my god daddy," and get the rubbing it. Like, okay, come on. Kelly eagerly accepted her innocent request. Now, here's the thing for me with that. Why do y'all think that it was Sparkle that took her and introduced her to R. Kelly and then asked her to be Reshonda's godfather instead of the parents doing so? It doesn't say anything about her dad. Her dad allegedly has now been offered a job to play in the band. He's been recognized on some of the albums from 1999 track albums, 99 to 2010. Why you think that the mom and the dad never came together and asked R. Kelly, hey, would you like to be her godfather? I don't know. I mean, and technically, oh, let's move on. What you say? I remember as well. It has always been said that Sparkle took her, and why didn't Sparkle take her away after seeing exactly? That should have been the end of it right there. That should have been the end of it, though, Harlem. That should have been over with, but it didn't. So maybe in her memoir, 200 and some pages long, you ain't getting that much. Now, had this book been written probably to 800 or 800 to maybe 15 or 3,000, oh, you was going to get all the details. We're talking about a 260 some pages. You guys don't expect much. Don't expect much. And there's probably 12 or 15 pages that's going to repeat itself. But hey, dollar, 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 dollar bill, y'all. Y'all gonna be there like, oh, I just read that. Oh, I just read that. So you can't get much in a 200. Not with this long ass story here. Mm-mm. You need a damn novel with that about 8,000 pages. Though her parents tried their best, Landfair writes. She says they stood no chance against Kelly, a master manipulator who met this one word here, y'all, because my braces methodically. Methodically. Method, I can't say it. But y'all know what I'm saying, right? Methodically. 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 Grown figures. I hate when I come across words like that. No, I can read my butt off right, but it's not coming out right. My tongue is hitting these Invisaligns. Groomed figures in Landfair's life before he turned his focus and true intentions on her. Under the noses of her family, Kelly's business team, and the revolving door of yes people in his recording studios and homes. Y'all know some of this is copy paste from the repetitions of everything that was cited in the indictment papers, right? Sound just like it. It's like it's a song. It's like when you say it so many times, it's just stuck in your head that you can call it. This is exactly the same phrases that of how they put it in the paperwork. And insisting that Landfair called him daddy in private moments. Landfair says she initially thought of Kelly as her boyfriend. She initially. Now, that means something that occurred in the beginning, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes or no? Doesn't that refer to that? Like initially, like she walked up in there at 14 and already then claimed it. Oh, this gonna be my boyfriend. The hell with this shit Sparkle talking about some godfather. Yes or no? I'm just saying. That's what it sounds. Okay. Like it was already mentally, planned out how this was going to turn out. I think my finger hit this. Under the noses of her family, Kelly's business team, and the revolving door of yes people in his recording studio and homes. The book details how Kelly stealthily groomed the middle schooler in plain sight. It started with a secret, sexually charged phone calls and insisting that Landfair called him daddy. In private moments, Landfair says she initially thought of Kelly as her boyfriend, though as the abuse escalated, the term paled when trying to label the all encompassing role Kelly played in her life. He was always daddy, she says. He slowly pushed her boundaries. Landfair writes played mind games and convinced the team they were desperately in love. Hmm. And Beauty, you say this is around the time also when Lisa Van Allen and Drea uh, was up in this home. What? And she wrote, I'm not laughing at the girl. I'm laughing at the point. This like what? What? Robert knowingly victimized me as a child. Okay, thank you. Yes. I was brainwashed by Robert and a sex slave. Have Drea ever said that she was brainwashed? Because apparently she wouldn't be able to. Not with that video out, with her in that car singing, "Y'all better buy my baby daddy music because that keeps my lights on." And happy people. So there was no way that she can fix her mouth to say something like this, but noted that she was there around the same time, during the same time as Landfair and Lisa Van Allen. Okay. Robert made me suicidal as a young adult. Hmm. It is awful being me. I gave up my family for him. Or is it vice versa? Is it that her family gave her up for monetary gain? Is it that way? Could it have been that way? Because the minute that story dropped in those papers about R. Kelly, let me turn my heater off. R. Kelly paid so and so for them to go overseas so that they don't testify, was the time that I would think that the parents gave up on her. That's just my opinion. And I still don't know why. Nothing else mattered back then, and I still don't know why. By the time I was 16, 17 years of age, the only thing that mattered was him. Now, could it be possible that the parents were trying to intervene or say something or do something? But now she's 16, 17. And you know how the mindset is of 16 and 17-year-olds because they're what? Almost grown. You can't tell me nothing. I'll come home when I want to. I'm going over Robert House. I'm staying with the Kellys. I mean, could it be? Because I could see, yeah, children does that. I was manipulated, and independence didn't seem like an option. Robert shattered me. The role Landfair's family members, including Sparkle, playing in fostering her relationship with Kelly, even as whispers of their relationship became screams. It's difficult to reckon with. Landfair does not excuse her family's decision. Instead, she contextualizes them, laying out a dangerous combination of willful ignorance, financial dependence, at least she put that in there, and shame. I think the first stages of my parents was utter naive denial. So she has a little bitterness about towards her parents. Are you I don't know, Harlem. I would object just a little bit because I think that regardless whether if she did have this store, most likely the storefront had to be put in somebody's name, and it was probably their name. So if you ask yourself how much could Mr. Kelly have done, whether if he invest it into this store or not. You know what I'm saying? Well, what is it going to do? Come out there and take the store back from them? So they went to his home to collect. Oh, jeez, girl, it's just like I say. Is this here this Kelly saga, baby? This stuff will give you a straight migraine. You truly don't believe that they didn't start messing around until she became of age? I'm starting to feel that way too, Beauty. I really am. I'm starting to feel that way. I just don't. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see it where all, to Reshonda Landfair, all of these people coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. I'm talking about even artists out there. What was it, Fat Joe? Everybody coming and going. Everybody's coming and going. And you mean to tell me that they just walk right past her and just let stuff just let it be? It just let it be. She didn't grab somebody's hand and start saying, "Help me," or none of this. Y'all, this shit is crazy. There were points that Landfair wishes her parents could have had the discernment to intervene. There were points Landfair wishes her parents could have had the discernment to intervene. So they wasn't of God. They wasn't walking with God, because that's who places the discernment in your life. I, so like she was saying, like they were face of devils. They were face of cruel of crud creed. They was face of what criminality. They were face of greed. What is she saying here? What? In one passage, she writes about her father praying over her. Oh, guys, hold on. I got to open the door for Coda. The screen door is locked. Praying over her, rebuking every spirit of perversion and deception that their family might encounter, not yet knowing that it had already arrived at their doorstep. Y'all hold that thought. Hold the chat down. Give me 30 seconds. Okay, that must have been an old text. I'm just coming through because I'm like, hey, she ain't at the door. She gone. Okay, I'm back. What you say, Beauty? You know my story. I would never victim blame. I took my feelings and emotions out of it and used. Exactly. I'm not. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't definitely victim blame. I just would call out some things that I think that we're all entitled to express, no matter who you are, what and how differently would you have dealt with a situation that this whole on how this whole thing has occurred. And I think that that's fair, because they're just assumption, or it could be a person who, might be in a chat or whatever and have their opinion that actually has been through something similar, or for the people that has not. I think that it is okay to express how you would have dealt with things differently. Not to say the way that she dealt with it was right or wrong, or the way that we would deal with it is right or wrong. Not to say. I think there's just opinions about it, because at the end of the day, a person is going to deal with it according to how they choose to deal with it and when they feel like dealing with it. I don't have a problem with that. But I know that I'm just not easily triggered, um, by a lot of woes. I'm just not easily triggered by it because it's like you just done heard so much of this type of situation go on year after year after year. What I'm angry, not personally about, but just to use the word angry, like I'm so angry about the prevention part of it. No matter how much society goes on with teaching it, with coaching it, and it's like, why doesn't it never stop? We already at some point as ladies, you know, grow into, to me, you grow into protecting your domain, your space, so the, I just ask myself, like, when will it ever end? When will it ever end? That's all I'm saying. And I put this on both sides, but more so, um, not more so, but when I'm looking at the female part of it, right? They're teaching beauty. They're teaching. It's on TVs. It's everywhere. It's in the books. It's this or that. It teaches the signs of it. You know the signs. All of this. And you have to minimize your trust. And guess what? You only should allow that. Not allow. You should be able to recognize just that one time of that broken trust. One time, even if it's a smirky smile that ain't right. I got to go. Because you feel it. But it doesn't help if those particular feelings are pouring out um, from the female. It just doesn't help. Female, you ready, you want to smile back, you think your uncle is playing, and it's okay. Go sit on his lap. Come and see what Uncle Joe got this $5 for you. Stand up and have Uncle Joe give it to you. Don't go over to sit on Uncle Joe's lap. But I mean, I get it. But okay, so where were we? I wish your intuition had kicked in when I seemed uncomfortable and would refuse to speak to or even acknowledge any man who was not you or Robert. Hold on, let me go back up. There were points Landfair wishes her parents could have had the discernment to intervene. In one passage, she writes about her father praying over her, rebuking every spirit of perversions and deceptions that their family might encounter. Not yet knowing it, had already arrived at their doorsteps. Oh, let's pause right there. I got to pause right there, Beauty, because she's stating that this is something that is happening to her right now. This is her. And she's decreeing and declaring that her dad was rebuking and praying and standing over her. And then she says, well, he's not even knowing that what he is trying to rebuke is right at his doorstep. And does she not say anything to her dad? Does she stop him from praying? Does she start crying with him? Does she's like, like, wait a minute. Or did she hold all of this in? I wish, how could your parent be suspicious, right? Without you remotely and verbally telling them out just bluntly, he's doing so and so. So how is it that a parent, what are the signs? And I know I saw a couple of programs where they have some of the signs that your child will show you where you should be suspicious, right? And they shy away or they become enclosed and from people or life itself, and they don't want to come out, or they may start changing abruptly the way that they look, or they may, things like that. And I get that. So what were some of the signs? I'd like to know if she what was some of her signs that would have led for her parent, her dad, when he was praying, where it should have been obvious. What were some of her signs? Well, she goes on to say, I wish you had been suspicious enough to catch Robert in an act of making sneaky sexual gestures toward me while I fidgeted. Now she said that in responding to her dad doing this praying. But was it said to Auntie Sparkle when she brought her in there and she stated that she sat on his lap and calling him God Daddy? I mean, did she say it then? No shade. I'm just asking questions. So is it fair to say that her dad, she's saying her dad should have recognized this suspicious of R. Kelly from making sneaky sexual gestures, but what would you, or how do you identify it when Sparkle is having her sit on his lap and asking him to be his godfather? Uh, Shouldn't that be the same annotation to Sparkle? Shouldn't she have recognized that this was could have possibly been some suspicious behavior? I'm just saying that's weird to me. That's so weird to me. Why are we? By the late 1990s, Sparkle began ringing the alarm bell. Your auntie Stephanie has been in touch with the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Now, I think it was said out here that Sparkle started all of this um, casting of what's going on because there was something with her and R. Kelly going on about her album. I remember her stating on one thing that I guess he was taking too long, or it was something where she dumped Earl, one Earl, her husband, or something, and she was over there with R. Kelly, but R. Kelly wasn't um, ready to produce something or drop this, or she couldn't do something. It was something. I'm trying to remember. She wanted to bring on somebody else and he wasn't feeling it. It was something like that. I know I don't have it all the way right. And so, is that something that ignited Sparkle? Is that one or out of many probably incidents that sparked Sparkle to start this whole situation between Landfair and R. Kelly? They've launched an investigation. Seems she thinks you may be involved in some indecent sexual activity at Robert's studio, and that it's with Robert. What do you have to say about that? Right, she left her husband, introduced the niece, and lost her spot. Sounds fair enough to me. All that sounds about it. Sums it up. Kelly had been prepared. So when you say lost her spot, all of the attention kind of fell off of Sparkle, right? And then you also had Sparkle come out and start telling her story about. She was actually attacking both of them. Well, not attacking. She was trying to expose what was going on with Reshonda Landfair at the same time with her telling what R. Kelly was doing to Drea, right? Remember, she was on the couch and we was watching this basketball game, and then I heard Andrea, she was upstairs and banging on these doors, and then she run up there to save her, banging on the doors, and I asked Kelly, well, what's she doing? Kelly was like, well, she I remember that. So those were around the same time of Sparkle was out when Sparkle was out here telling her stories, right? Because she dropped that bombshell. Now I haven't heard her say anything about Elisa Van Allen. I don't recall. Maybe she had, maybe she did, but I don't recall. But she dropped those two bombshells on her niece and then Drea Kelly. Kelly had been preparing her for this moment. Landfair describes in her book the extensive coaching he put her through, drilling her like a military sergeant until she could smoothly lie about aspects of their relationship. It was long days of rehearsals. It was long days of grooming, she says. It was until you got it right, until he felt like you could walk out the door and represent it the way he translated it. It would take that long. Her parents accepted Landfair rehearsed denial. But when giving undeniable proof of Landfair's relationship with Kelly, a few years later with the emergence of the videotape, they were in a nightmare scenario. Both Kelly and Landfair were adamant about their love, and a 17-year-old Landfair was so deep under her abuser's spell that her parents had no hope of successfully luring her away from Kelly. Instead, they knuckled down and tolerated the situation. Now, is that something that would actually be the fault of once it has gotten to this point of her parents' fault? I mean, really, at 17 years old, she was deeply in now. So in her memoir, I understand that she's planning on telling how, some parts about how she may feel about her parents failing her, especially speaking into existence of her father praying over her, and he did not recognize the signs that she was allegedly trying to pour out, or that R. Kelly was pouring in, that she was being control, put into the spell. But at the same time, it was also prevented when Sparkle introduced him and allowed her to sit on his lap and call him Godfather because it was all cute to her. And instead of recognizing that okay, what are we doing here? Okay, but anywho, Landfair was so deep under her abusive spell that her parents had no hope of successfully luring her away from Kelly. Instead, they knuckled down and tolerated the situation, which neither parent fully understood the scope and the depravity of it. I'm not saying my parents did not have shortcomings, Landfair says. However, if you weren't the parent of Reshona and in the position to have to choose, my dad did not want to be the person that we saw on Lifetime, banging on windows and throwing rocks and trying to get his daughter back. Oh, is that shade towards the Clary's? Oh, sound like, hey Harlem, that sound like a little shade there to them Clarys. I'm just saying. He was my security blanket, if you want me to be honest. Whatever protection her parents tried to offer existed inside a reality Kelly controlled. As Landfair details in the book for the first time, the years between 2002, when Kelly was arrested on a 21 count indictment pertaining to child pornography, spent under a fog pornography charges, and his 2008 acquittal were spent under a fog, with Kelly keeping Landfair under his thumb even more than before. In the book, Landfair likens the isolation period to being under house arrest. Those that's arguably too forgiving a description given the hostage like condition. Oh, okay. He held her hostage. What she said. She writes about living under, paranoid that Landfair might turn on him. Kelly tightly controlled who she could see. He bounced Landfair between various of locations, including his tour bus, recording studios, and cramped office spaces. I don't think I remember hearing Beauty. I mean, Harlem, you're here.
I'm trying to think of his name. What was the group that he was in with R. Kelly in the 90s? And I jumped in over there on his page with you guys, Beauty. What's that man name? I don't remember him doing a roll call of Landfair on those buses. I remember him saying that he was on a lot of those tour buses and he was naming a few people that were on that bus, and he had never mentioned her name. I don't think I ever heard him say her name. I could be wrong. Please correct me. Never. So I'm trying to think of his name. I don't know if he still does his show over there or not, but
Public announcement. Dre. Thank you. Did, have you ever recalled him saying her name? Because he used to sit on that channel and talk about why he was on there and around. And the other guys, Earl talked. I think they all spoke, not Earl, the other guy. And they were saying something about, Leah would be on the bus, or Dre would be on the bus, or maybe Lisa Van Allen. I ain't never heard her being on the bus. I'm just saying. He bounced Landfair between various of locations, including his tour bus recording studios and cramped office spaces, none of which were bedrooms, Landfair clarifies. There were times where I would be sleeping on a chiropractor table. I thought I thought they showed like a dentist table. You know what I mean? Like the video that Art Fat Joe they were showing that was a dentist table, I guess. They were let me keep going. Kelly's lacks dropped off meals, often delivering with a specific code, knock on the door, even going to the bathroom required Kelly's or someone else's approval. And yet, despite the supposed secrecy of her whereabouts, Landfair was never truly hidden. Kelly would host parties at these spaces, and a confined Landfair would listen from wherever she was being kept. Her father would secretly steal away and knock on the door. What? Hold on. Hold on, hold the mule. I gotta get something to drink. Mm-mm, mm, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Y'all, did y'all hear that? Her father would secretly steal away, meaning get away, and knock on her door. Oh, you do got a thumb by your, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's cute. And it's identifying. You're singling you out. You're special. You're the only one got a thumb up there. Y'all, y'all. Everyone knew how he operated. So it feels worse than what he made it look, Landfair explains. You might see me in a different space, or Kelly might have me come out so that it looks a little bit more normal. But I'm living in the garage where the gym is built at a point. I'm living in the office space in the house with just a couch and a little handy chair. I'm just listening to music. I'm sitting at a desk. I'm in here really pretending, trying to figure out if it's daylight, if it's sunlight. Not testifying in the 2008 trial has left Landfair with obvious regrets, succumbing to Kelly's demand, sick with shame and fearful that she'll be the person held responsible for sending Kelly to prison. That's a good question. Where is Dre doing all this? Probably in Chicago, riding around. Like on that video I saw with some lady that was on the South Side. And she said she and Dre used to come back and hang out all through the hood, get in the car, just ride and ride. It was some lady. I don't know what it. And this is like literally I want to say 2019 when I actually saw this video. It was some lady. She's like, I'm on the south side of Chicago and I know Dre and blah, 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 y'all. And Dre don't do shit but come here, ride around. And then talked about it so bad, y'all. I was like, oh, Lord. Succumbing to Kelly's demands, sick with shame and fearful that she be the person held responsible for sending Kelly. If she was stepping in the name of love. Still out there on the Navy pier boat with all white on. I don't know. Oh boy. Oh wait. Sick with shame and fearful that she'd be the person held responsible for sending Kelly to prison. Landfair swore under oath to a grand juror that the girl in the video wasn't her. As Kelly team weaponized Landfair's refusal to testify, she writes that she was just outside the courtroom, kept in a bedroom on Kelly's parked tour bus. Nobody went to check that. Guess they didn't have probable cause to go and check the bus. I didn't have the TV on. Of course, Landfair writes of her spending her time in the small space, aimlessly waiting for Kelly. Robert would let me follow the trial, just like he wouldn't let me follow the trial, just like he forbidden me from watching his televised BET interview with Ed Gordon or listening to his radio interviews since his indictment 6 years ago. I wasn't allowed to watch, listen to, or read anything that could make me question things, not the news or the trending social media stories. So even though I was 200 feet from Robert, I might as well have been 2,000 miles away. Although more than a dozen witnesses, including some of Landfair's relatives and friends, testified that it was her tape on the hateful tape, jurors will cite her looming absences as a major factor in acquitting Kelly. Three of Landfair's relatives testified in Kelly's defense, claiming that they didn't even recognize the girl on the tape as Landfair nearly 20 years ago. So they did argue that they did not recognize her on the tape. So they're okay. I was wondering if that argument was in there. I must live with the choices my parents and I made, and with Robert's abuse of other women and girls who met him after he was acquitted. Landfair writes, I'm not saying we did the right thing. Now she's talking about receiving the money and getting out of town. Okay. And I regret that so many more people were hurt by Robert because he wasn't stopped in 2008. Landfair likens Kelly's control over her life and decisions to brainwashing. His wants suddenly became her desires too. The weight of Kelly's control over Landfair's life was absolute. She sacrificed everything for him. Tears spring to her eyes when asked if she regrets about quitting for the cause at Kelly's best. Yes. That was the last part of me that went. That was the last thing I had, she says. School was already done. I was not doing basketball anymore, not going to proms. So for the cause was the last thing to go. That was the one. Now, let's see if we can get something clear here when she says that school was already done and I was not doing basketball anymore and not going to prom. Now, I'm just going to go out on the limb to say that could this possibly be because she was in this group for the cause that was overseas? Is it? R. Kelly's fault, or that something like this happened where she did not have a prom or she did not finish basketball? Or is it that she kind of got away from that and it wasn't not that much time for her to be involved in these curriculums because she was overseas performing in this group called, For the Cause. So I don't know how, people would kind of look at that, but I think that that's something to be aware of, because now that's how I'm looking at it. I don't think that it would be fair to say that, okay, well, this is because of R. Kelly, because of the way they written it. It would appear that she's trying to say that this was because of R. Kelly, right? But not if she's not going to prom, she's not going to school. Now, now I have a problem with the school system. They didn't check up on her. Was she missing days, or nobody was concerned that she didn't pick up a friend, a young guy from the high school to go to prom with, none of her friends, or the basketball. Well, the basketball coach did come out, y'all. There was. Let me keep reading. That was the one thing that was good about me that I could always resort to, and it was a tug of war. That was probably the first time I could remember challenging him because I did not want to do that. Being in the studio to record the audiobook version of her memoir brought that dormant spark back to life. I definitely miss music, Landfair says, and I don't know where I would fit into it at this point, but I do. Oh, you just jumped right on back into it, girl. Just like that. By the time Landfair was 26 years old, she had managed to untangle herself from Kelly's group. I wonder how she do that. Though there were strings like his limited financial support still attached. So she's going to tell that. She's going to admit that, yeah, I was still receiving the money from him. Landfair remained paranoid that any new friends or colleagues would recognize her name and whisper behind her back about the unnamed trauma she was just beginning to unpack. With every job I applied for, friend I made, and date I went on, I was always plagued with worry, she writes. Did they know? Would they judge me? I was tired of living in the shadow of Robert's secret that had become mine. I had to purge. But when that Lifetime docuseries Surviving R. Kelly premiered in January 2019, she was blindsided. She had only heard fleeting talk of some project in the weeks leading up to the trailer dropping online. Seeing Sparkle cry about Landfair experience, something that Landfair hadn't fully come to terms with, was discombobulating and infuriating. In a state of panic, Landfair admits she reached out to Kelly for answers, only to receive sneers and deflection. Now, that probably ignited her to be livid and, possibly start some retaliation back. If she's saying that she received back some sneers and deflection. Okay. Like, like I ain't got to tell you what's going on. Yeah. She was more taken aback by the responses from Daryl McDavid, Kelly's long-time business manager and accountant. Well, don't hurt him, McDavid reportedly begged her. Don't hurt Robert. I know there were a lot of things that happened that should have or that could have been avoided, but don't hurt him. The irony of McDavid's plea to Landfair was astounding. This was the same man who was accused of helping coordinate payoffs. Oh, bam. Oh, I need to take a moment for y'all to stand up, take a stretch, Get your deep breathing in. Inhale, exhale. Mm, mm. You mean to tell me that she's going to have some assertion in this memoir with putting out Daryl McDavid juicy details about himself? I don't know. I won't be buying the book. So I'll have to go and probably listen to a book reading or something. I won't be buying it. I don't want to. Oh, my girl, Harlem usually buys it because she gets all the tea. Harlem, you gonna get that book? Beauty, y'all getting that book? Y'all sitting too quiet in the chat. Too quiet. The irony of McDavid's plea to Landfair was astounding. This was the same man who was accused of helping coordinate payoffs to Kelly's accusers ahead of the 2008 trial. He had served as a mediator in a meeting between Kelly and Landfair's father, where the singer confessed to secretly having a relationship with an underage Landfair for the past 3+ years. Oh, child. Don't hurt Kelly. What about the hurt already caused to her? Nobody ever considered me, Landfair says. Matter of fact, Robert was the more valuable person in the equation. There are only a few moments during the 90-minute conversation when Landfair becomes emotional, discussing memories of her father who died in 21, a year-long estrangement from her mother, mandated by Kelly, and mourning having to walk away from her early music career. When the topic turns to the 2008 criminal trial, her tears come hot and fast. Her voice cracks in pain, anger, and heartbreak at how thoroughly the system and those around her failed. I know you gonna read it. I know you gonna read it. Around her failed. It's almost like if you don't read it, then you don't get all of the details um, uh, from her part, and also doing your research to find if some of it is true or false. So it's like if you don't read it, you'll be lost in the loop. I'm gonna give you that. You'll be totally lost. You can only just stay out here to continue to speculate, on some things unless you were there to actually know, the truth about some things, So I have to, if I, would have decided to purchase it, which I don't, um, um, I have to guess. And then guessing leads to running on your emotions. And once you run on your emotions, then you come out here and just start saying a whole bunch of stuff, like, and know where to get it from to bag it up. You're going to borrow it from the library? Well, they might not even get no copies up here. They might not get no copies of it up here. But in hindsight, In hindsight, it's unfathomable how widely unprotected Landfair was. Community held stigmas around black girls being too fast or foolish when predatory older men took advantage of their innocence, made Landfair believe Kelly's pedophilia was something she was responsible for, keeping her silent when bootlegged videotapes of her abuse was being sold on street corners for $10 a copy. When national newspapers bypassed the now standard journalistic standards not to disclose the names of sexual abuse victims or minors and use her full name, often misspelled, in their reports, and when Chicago's Cook County prosecutors failed to protect Landfair as a victim or Jim Derrick goddess, who just kept saying it over. Jim Derrick, God, I sure hope that she can express to him about how much pain he also contributed to her because he kept saying it. He kept saying it. But he says that the black young female culture is totally misunderstood. And now he's got her out here citing that so many people have failed her and her name was so often used or often misspelled. She can add Jim Derogatis to that list and her auntie Sparkle. Hmm. Choosing to show her face in open court as they played the explicit and degrading 26-minute tape numerous times. Well, she can blame the government who Judge Donnelly granted it that it be shown, but only to sequester it from the public. Sequestered from the public. But the sequestered juror saw it, knowing that leaving that courtroom, yeah, you may have raised your hand in the oath and can't talk about the case, but everybody knows that there's absolutely no one that sat in that room that has held this girl information privately to themselves, even as a juror. They are human beings. They are and were expected to, they were told to, but you best to believe that they didn't had an old dear friend of a cousin of a cousin of an auntie and a niece that they done sat and had this discussion with, let alone with their partners in their home. If I were a Caucasian girl who got peed on, there would have been a different outcome. Everybody would have looked at things completely different, Landfair says. It wouldn't have been no showing her body in the courtroom. Oh, she's mad at the government and the judge. Ooh. I wonder how they're gonna feel when they read that. Do you think that the prosecutors will feel embarrassed, humiliated? You think that they going to care any bit, any ounce about how she feel on what they did to prosecute R. Kelly? They ain't gonna feel a damn thing. None of it. None. You say you need the books to be read to you. You don't have the time. Girl, it's only 200 and some pages. You'll be done with that in about a half an hour. Get that over with. It would have been no showing her body in a courtroom, speaking about if this would have happened to a Caucasian girl. And I am not, it would, it wouldn't have been the skits and being the mockery of the town. I'm not here to pull a race card or anything like that. I'm just speaking from my heart. And black girls, we develop fast. We're a little bit curvier. We wear our hair differently, and that becomes our fault if something like this happens. For so long, I believe it was something I did. The entire time, nobody treated me the way I was supposed to be treated. To the public, I was a mockery. I was never a victim, so I never saw myself as a victim. There you have it. So for those that wants to keep saying that she was and she was, she clearly states here that will be in probably her memoir telling you to the public she is identifying herself as being a mockery. She says, I was never a victim. So I never saw myself as a victim. Now, it might be something further down as I continue to read where people pushed and helped her, I guess, identify herself maybe as a victim. But when Kelly was indicted again in 2019, Landfair was ready, testifying under a Jane Doe pseudonym at the Chicago trial in August of 22. Landfair willed herself to look directly at Kelly. He gave me a nasty look, Landfair recalls, still in slight disbelief. When he gave me that look, it was confirmation that I was sitting in the right place. I felt like the nerve of you to hear all of these things that you have taken somebody through. And for you to still feel like I owe you something or I'm disloyal. That's what made it easy for me because I'm like, you don't get it. You think you're untouchable. You're still lying. I pray that now that he's had some time to think, that he sees his actions as wrong, Landfair adds. I really think that in his mind, he's looking at it like, you wanted me to do this. You allowed me to do that. I didn't force you. Well, actually, you did. It's everywhere I go, she says. I work in a high school, and when I walk into work every morning, R. Kelly is playing on a loudspeaker before I get my day started. I just go into my little shell and eventually it passes. That's just how I handle it. Landfair understands fans who can't easily write off Kelly's music in the wake of his conviction. The music itself is his gift, she's explained. That's the good part of him. That's the creative side of him. So I can't take away a fan's memory of what they felt when that song came out. There have been moments when Landfair contemplated moving away from Chicago, putting physical distance between a city that still only supports Kelly and is ground zero for some of her most painful memories. I don't know how, like, even I guess mention it to bring awareness to it, I guess is I mean, it's steadily probably needed on her behalf, but like like she goes into it. It's nothing that she can pretty much do about R. Kelly having a fan base that still loves to hear his music. So, yeah, there have been moments when Landfair contemplated moving away from Chicago, putting physical distance between a city that still openly supports Kelly and is ground zero for some of her most painful memories. For now, she's firmly planted in a place she genuinely loves. It's where she was born and raised. It's where her family is. It's the home she created for herself and her son. Why let Kelly claim anything else in her life? I'm still here, she says. I still walk with my head held high. And years after removing herself from Kelly's orbit, Landfair has rebuilt her life. She lights up with highlighting her job at a school based health center and describing the next steps for the nonprofit she founded. Project Refine, a mentor program for young women. Well, here we go again. And I know that this type of prevention, intervention must continue to go on. I get that. I have not heard anything else about what's her name? Drea Kelly. What is she? Wasn't she doing a nonprofit foundation or something and saving a bunch of young girls too? I mean, technically, they both could have got together and all of them and opened up one big, couple of giant ones, and I don't know. But what happened to Drea's? Wasn't she doing one too? Everybody want to help the young girl now. I gotta go help the young girl. This is the beginning of my freedom officially. Landfair excels. Didn't Kitty kind of have a story like this also? Through this book, I feel like I'm a channel. I'm looking forward to sharing my healing process and my testimony. and letting that be free for somebody else. The nerves that Landfair had been suppressing only shows as the interview winds down, letting out a relieved and shaky breathe from answering the last questions. It's been a long, hard fought road to where she feels emboldened to step past the shame and the self blame of being in Kelly's shadow. I was afraid to say my own name and be who I really was to work, to friends, she says. I created Chong. I don't know if she's pronouncing it as Shong or Chong, but she spells it Chon. And that's what I've been going by. She doesn't hesitate as she continues her train of thought, though a smile creeps into her voice. But Landfair adds, I'm here today as Reshona. She was a Jane Doe. Okay, you guys will know that. Now, I'm just going to read a few of these comments here. Yeah, Drea been real quiet. Someone says that goes by the name of Riri Stan, team owner. She says, never knew what she looked like until now. Surprised this is what she wants to be known for. I would have gone anonymous. Hope she puts the biggest blame on her parents because she should never have been in that situation. I think that I can agree with that. What about you guys? You think you agree with that first comment? You think by her saying that she should have put most of the blame on her parents? Did I read that right? Her father was credited on Kelly's music from 1990 to 2010. So that rumor was true that her family continued to work with him and they turned their back on Sparkle in return. That was said by Indigo Wow. Collected says, wow, I was so surprised that he wasn't convicted that the tape came out. When the tape came out, I was young when this happened, but when he got off, that's when I realized that there was no protection for black girls who are sexually abused. None. Even if her family failed her, the judicial system shouldn't have since it was on a tape. Mind you, this was before the internet era. They would sell the tape in the barbershops. The DVD man spread the tape. People watched on the low, but would talk about what they saw in shops publicly on comedy shows. He must be talking about Dave Chappelle. People defended R. Kelly tooth and nail. They blamed the young 14-year-old in everything. Now, just now, we are seeing how dirty the industry is and how this is widespread. They all were protecting each other. Oh, y'all agree with that? I think so, Harlem, because on that one site that I was on, it was a whole lot of them saying they didn't even know who she was. A lot of people were saying that why didn't she just tell a story and say, stay anonymous, but she decided to let you know who Rashonda Landfair is. Excited, this is Beauty in Brains. Excited and awed by Kelly's celebrity, a 12-year-old Landfair began spending more time around Kelly at his recording studio and tagging along to groups' outings with Sparkle. When Sparkle encouraged Landfair to ask Kelly to be her godfather, it seemed like a natural progression of the close bond the family was developing with Kelly. After Landfair climbed into Kelly's lap and rubbed his head, following the precise instructions that Sparkle had given her, Kelly eagerly accepted her innocent request. So, could it be that Sparkle was allegedly grooming her or groomed her? Could it be? I don't know. I don't know. Sparkle is such a bitch for this. Ooh, y'all agree or not? Sammy K, yes, she lived with R. Kelly for years as a minor into adulthood. And according to the article, everyone knew in his inner circle. Let's see what Pretty Things got to say. She said she saw this on Facebook timeline the other day, and the comments were full of black folks calling her fast to only blame her parents and to free R. Kelly. One woman even said she looked like she had been having feed for a long time before RK. Just disgusting. They passed that child corn around the community like it was a box of donuts. Everyone watched it, laughed, and still turned up his music when it came on. I will never get over that. Chico. Chico just says, wow. It's so sad that this happened to her. However, you're in store for a good ass book. That's what Red Hot Blunts had to say. So, sweet one, that cover is thought provoking, beautiful, and heartbreaking all at once. We already knew she was a baby. And looking at this video of her when it was going on is a stark reminder she was a baby. I'm definitely reading the book, says I'm just bait. Mammy. Finally, she understands what's happening to her and how her family all sold her for their own benefit. God bless her, and I pray for her healing. Usher 9856, I hope she truly can find healing and peace. Not going to read the other part of what he says because it's not nice. I was buying her memoir, the Holy One says, though I don't understand how she has so much grace for her parents, but seems hell bent on throwing Sparkle under the bus. It's damn if you do, damn if you don't, damn if you do. Let's see what Miracle Whip had to say. I'm going to read about 3 more and I'm out of here, y'all. Did she really say the system failed her and not her parents? And yes, she did. I know. I kind of was probably thinking what you're thinking, but I'm going to continue reading this Miracle Whip just to see. He knowingly left her in the arms of her abuser and continued working for him because the timeline shows that her dad started working for him after the tape was made. But not only that, let's not miss that part where she mentioned that her dad would come and knock on the door, Miracle Whip. I could not, but I was like, what? And he didn't say, get your butt out of here. And oh, girl. Indica Mammy has another post that says, I think she might blame her because without Sparkle, R. Kelly doesn't meet anyone in the family. So she made the introduction and created the alternative timeline all while knowing he was into these girls. Messy boots. This is the norm in the entertainment industry. I look at any parent funny who wants their kids in this industry. These folks are selling their kids to the highest bidder. And just because a parent is willing to exploit their kids to molesters doesn't make the perpetrator any less guilty. You can blame the parents, you can blame R. Kelly, and anyone who sat by and watched and enabled and continues to defend this mess. Let me see if I pick one more. And this one is, we did you already. She got a lot to say, Messy Boots. Let's see what Lorenzo says. Lonzo, because everybody but you knew her name. Many probably knew what she looked like, and lots saw her as an abused child. I remember seeing her gospel group music videos years ago. Well, you guys, so much, so much, so much, so much. Plenty for people to express their opinions about, but at the end of the day, I usually end all of this with, I just wish them well. This story here is just it just became too big, y'all. It's just too much. So it's not every day, that I would want to sit up mostly and do R. Kelly. I still say and still stand because I do feel that in the judicial process of trying to do while his conviction or whatever, I think that he was not giving. Well, maybe that's not no, that's not saying his base around him, the attorneys that he had, and people like that, just really didn't pull the right strength, the right arguments, to get a lot of stuff through. And not only that, the judge and the prosecutors being allowed to basically run this whole trial as a one-sided show was just hideous to me. And that's something that I just don't believe in. Both sides have to come out, Um, but we'll see, and you guys will probably never hear anything else about LaShonda Landfair after she drops her books and everybody got it, and then it's read and reread and opinionated on for about maybe a good week or two. Then that's it. I think that's going to be a closing chapter on that. Y'all stay blessed. Have a good night. Tomorrow starts that day one of the work week. So add it all over again. Hey, thanks, ladies in the blue, for showing up. I appreciate it. I really, really, really gonna make the announcement because y'all know I'm not on as much to tie up much of people's time. But I have some moderators out there in the blue that does not show up, you guys. And so now I think it's time, which they probably don't care, is to relieve them of the rich. And I know that I was studying, I was reading, and I'm looking like your channel will not go anywhere as you would like to see it go without the help of the people that choose to help you grow in it. And I keep asking for, some of this or that. I'll get off, and I might see one or two pop. No, if I say that I need you, then we've been rocking one or two or three lives a month is not, I hope wouldn't hurt anybody to pop in to help, even though we don't have no disturbance much on this channel. But just to see it knows that I still have people that is going to rock with it. There's no need of saying that you will, but not be here with me. I get it when I'm doing my darn, shits and giggle moments and stuff like that. I get it. Nobody wants to be involved. Just like how, Joy, came in and made her little comment. The next thing I know, she's being called out. That was not right. But y'all ain't got to fight those type of fights. I got those. I got your back over here. Nobody coming at you. Y'all have a beautiful night. Thanks, girls. I appreciate it. Y'all hit the like button, share the channel. Hey, and I guess we're in for a whole week of everybody reading this book and dropping their opinions about it. And that whole stuff, I wish them all well. But my life must go on. Talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Now I got to find the button, Harlem, because I ain't usually on this channel. Like, how do you end this? Ain't that crazy? Wait, let me see if it's up here. Nope. I'm on this. Oh, there we go. I found it. It's down here. Good night.